I never thought family could be the most dangerous threat to my existence. But when I found cameras hidden in my bedroom, when I discovered she'd been applying to my job using my resume, when I realized she'd been dating men who looked exactly like my husband, I knew this wasn't admiration anymore. This was something much darker. I'm Doreen, I'm 40 years old, and this is my story. Growing up, I was what you'd call the family success story. I graduated valedictorian, got a full scholarship to law school, married my college sweetheart Gabriel, had 2 beautiful kids, and built a successful practice specializing in corporate law. My cousin Delphine, who's 5 years younger than me, always seemed to hover around the edges of my achievements. At family gatherings, she'd sit quietly while relatives praised my latest accomplishment. I thought she was just shy. I thought she was proud of me. I was so incredibly wrong. The first red flag should have been when she transferred to my old high school during her senior year. Her family lived 2 districts away, but she convinced her parents she needed a better education. She joined every club I'd been in, took the same AP classes, even asked my old teachers about me. When she graduated, she didn't just follow in my footsteps, she tried to step directly into them. Same college. Same major. Same sorority. I helped her with applications, thinking I was being a good cousin. Then things got weird. She started dressing like me. Not similar styles, identical outfits. She'd show up to family events wearing the exact same dress I'd worn before. When I got highlights, she got highlights. When I cut my hair, she cut hers the same way. My aunt would joke, "Delphine's your little shadow." And I'd laugh it off because what else do you do? She's family. After college, Delphine moved to the same city as Gabriel and me. She rented an apartment 15 minutes from our house. She got a job at a law firm handling similar cases to mine. But the most disturbing part was her dating life. She dated this guy named Mitchell who was basically a Gabriel clone. Same height, same build, same profession, both architects. Same beard style, same taste in music, even drove the same model car. Over the next few years, she dated a string of men who all looked like variations of Gabriel. Different coloring, maybe slightly different heights, but the same facial structure, the same mannerisms, the same careers. It was uncanny. When Gabriel and I bought our dream house, a Victorian-style home with a wraparound porch, Delphine came to the housewarming party with a notebook, writing things down. The paint colors, the furniture placement, the brand names of our appliances. 6 months later, she bought a house. Not just any house, a Victorian-style home with a wraparound porch. Same exterior paint color. Same flowers in the garden. Even the same mailbox. Gabriel thought it was creepy, but he told me to let it go. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, he said. I wish I'd trusted my instincts. The career thing started with innocent questions about my cases and strategies. Then she started showing up at the same networking events I attended. Same bar association meetings. Same charity galas. One day, I got a call from a colleague. "We have someone here claiming to be you, but she doesn't look like you." Delphine had been using my name in consultations, telling potential clients she was my associate. When I confronted her, she claimed it was a misunderstanding. Then I discovered the LinkedIn profile. She'd created one using my exact resume. My law school, my graduation year, my job history, my achievements. Only her name and photo were different. When I threatened legal action, she finally took it down. But that's when the real stalking began. I started noticing Delphine everywhere. At my grocery store. At my kids' school events. At coffee shops where I met clients. She knew my routines better than I did. One day, I was having lunch with a client at a restaurant 40 minutes from both our houses, somewhere I'd never been before. She was sitting in the corner, smiling and waving like it was perfectly normal. Gabriel finally believed me when he spotted her car parked outside our house at 2 a.m. When he went to investigate, she drove away. The next day, she called asking if everything was okay because she'd driven by and noticed all the lights were on. We hadn't had any lights on. I started feeling like someone had been in our house. Little things were moved. Items were out of place. Nothing was missing, but something felt wrong. Then we found the spare key hidden in a flower pot by our front door. We'd never put a key there. I changed the locks immediately. 3 weeks later, while redecorating our bedroom, I found a small recording device wedged behind our headboard. We found 2 more, one in our closet, another in our bathroom. Someone had been recording us in our most private moments. The violation was indescribable. I went to Delphine's house the next day. When she opened the door, I pushed past her and walked inside. Her house wasn't just similar to mine, it was a replica. Same furniture, same arrangement, same artwork, same books. But the most disturbing part was her bedroom. Photos everywhere, of me, my family, my house, my kids. Pictures taken without my knowledge. Years of surveillance. "What is this, Delphine?" "It's my collection," she said simply. "Collection of what?" "Of you. Of your life. Of everything I should have had." "You should have had?" "This is my life. But it could have been mine. It should have been mine. Do you know what it's like being related to someone perfect? Do you know what it's like having everyone compare you to your cousin who does everything right?" That's when she told me about the plan. She'd been slowly inserting herself into my professional network, studying my mannerisms, my speech patterns. The goal wasn't just to be like me, it was to become me. "I've been preparing for years," she said, showing me notebooks filled with details about my life. My favorite foods, my childhood memories, my fears. Information gathered from family, from watching me, from going through my belongings. Preparing for what? For when you were out of the picture. What does that mean? It means I'm tired of being the understudy. I want the leading role. She wasn't just talking about professional success. She was talking about my entire existence, my husband, my children, my home, my identity. I went straight to the police, but there wasn't much they could do without clear evidence. Taking photos in public isn't illegal. Copying someone's lifestyle isn't a crime. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my son's school. Someone claiming to be me had called to arrange early pickup for both my children. The woman knew their names, their teachers, their activities. The only reason the school didn't release my kids was their policy requiring in-person pickup with photo ID. Security footage showed a woman who looked like me sitting in the parking lot for an hour, watching the building. The license plate was registered to Delphine. I hired a private investigator who documented everything. Photos of Delphine following me, sitting outside our house, talking to neighbors. Her internet search history included my name, my children's names, my husband's work address. Most chilling was her research into identity theft, legal name changes, and something called identity assumption disorder. She'd been visiting forums about taking over someone else's life. The FBI took the case seriously. They discovered she'd been intercepting my mail, gathering information to assume my identity completely. Bank statements, credit reports, financial documents, she had been building a duplicate file of my legal existence. The plan appears to have been gradual replacement, the agent explained. She would take over your professional relationships, then your financial accounts, then your legal identity. Eventually, she could have made it appear that you were the imposter. When they arrested Delphine, her house was like a museum of my existence. Room after room filled with copies of my belongings, photos of my family, documents about my life. One room was set up like an exact replica of my bedroom, complete with photos of Gabriel and my children on the nightstand. During questioning, she showed no remorse. She kept insisting she deserved my life more than I did. The trial lasted 3 months. The evidence was overwhelming, 20 years of systematic stalking, identity theft, and planning what amounted to complete life replacement. We moved, the house never felt safe again. My children needed therapy. I had to rebuild my professional reputation after years of confusion about which lawyer clients were hiring. The worst part was losing my sense of trust. How do you trust anyone when someone you've known your entire life was secretly planning to destroy you? Some family members still think I overreacted. She's sick, they say. She needs help, not prison. But they didn't live through what I lived through. The psychologist said her obsession with me was so deeply ingrained that it was unlikely to change. She doesn't see herself as the perpetrator. She sees herself as the victim of an unfair system that gave me opportunities she deserved. I still check my surroundings constantly. I still vary my routines. I still get nervous when someone shows too much interest in my life. My children understand that being related to someone doesn't automatically make them safe. Did I overreact? What would you have done in my situation? Was Delphine ever really my family? Or was she always waiting for the right moment to take everything I had built and make it her own? Now when I look back at those 20 years of what I thought was admiration, I see them for what they really were, a carefully orchestrated campaign to study, copy, and eventually replace me.
This is Family or Not, where we share stories that no one wants to talk about at family dinners.